right, do a quick review of that there. Is that a cucumber?
What is beer?
All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Thursday Show. I am your host, Daniel Peacock.
Hi, my name is Brent. I'm usually in the other room, but now I'm out here. You want to know why I'm out here and not in my other room?
Why is that?
Because half of our crew abandoned us tonight.
Yep, so it's just going to be us tonight, and whoever else happens to show up later. I'm not sure if anyone else is going to swing by today or not. But anyways, we're going to have a kind of shorter episode tonight.
Yeah, today's going to be a short one. So instead of, I had advertised the show tonight as being a end of the world special. And we had all kinds of plans for showing a special segment with Dr. Wenzel, Dr. Edmonds, Dr. Eisenbach, and I even asked Jeff Miller. But sadly, all their schedules are so strange, busy, that even even like 2 weeks in advance or a week in advance wasn't enough, which I guess is pretty normal, but I've never done this before, so I'm just learning this.
So we will have that to you guys sooner or later.
Yeah. For now, we're going to just kind of address some questions that I've been thinking about and things that I'll kind of set the direction of tonight's episode. Kind of things along the lines of what do we want to do in, what do we want this show to become, and some improvements we're hoping to make. If you guys have any feedback, that'd be awesome. How we can appeal to a wider audience and kind of even define who it is that we want to be talking to, just kind of live on air tonight. So kick back, relax, and get a bag of popcorn. And we're just gonna
roll with it tonight.
Yeah, just gonna roll with it. So as I am saying these things, I want to. Well, my stupid pop filter is not gonna. This is a new microphone, by the way, courtesy of Dustin Cole, who may or may not be, but probably is not watching this show. But if you're watching this in the future, Dustin, thank you for the microphone. All right, I'm gonna grab my statistics.
Yeah, but anyways, as Brent said, we are just kind of taking a look at who we are as a channel and trying to be a little more focused on what we do in the future. We obviously appeal to Milligan students a lot because we do a lot of segments about Milligan or in jokes about Milligan. The entire nut rolling video is literally just a Milligan joke because that's a tradition here at Milligan. But yeah, I think we are definitely open to expanding our appeal, making some things that aren't just Milligan jokes. That's not to say that we're not going to still slip in a little wink and a nudge at Milligan, because that's a huge part of who we are. We're students at Milligan. And we know a lot of you guys are fellow students at Milligan, and you enjoy watching this because it's like, hey, we know those guys, and they're making funny videos, funny content, so why not?
Yeah, so I think that the first thing I want to talk about is why my internet will not connect right now. But really, I think that just in the past week with trying to plan this show, this specific show, I wanted to have multiple segments. I wanted to have guest speakers on, in the segments. We go out and we film with our cameras. We're communications students. I wanted to make a professional looking episode of this show where we introduce a topic, kind of follow a general storyline or a guideline for a show. We show a segment to show what we're talking about and kind of hit on some of the points we want to make, and then we conclude the episode. But what ended up happening was I experienced severe time management problems. I'm trying to think of college words, but yeah. Anyways, this week has just been. We just got back from fall break, which some of you might be thinking, well, that gives you a lot of time to prepare for all these things, doesn't it? Well, also we have midterms and assignments that are due and things like that. So, that's not an excuse, but we basically took a week off, and we are recovering from that now. I think that the next episode we have of this show, what I want to see from it, and what I want to show to the viewers, to you guys, to the 3 people watching this now, I want to.
That means you, Colin.
Yeah, and Lop's muted Shark 12. Which, by the way, side rant. I have an awful phone. My phone dies very frequently, so most of the time it is on my bedside table charging. And because of this, when I'm at the computer, I have this program that will show me my text messages on the screen of my computer. And because of this, I can reply to them from there. Because I don't really text a lot, it's perfect for me because it only gives you 100 texts a month or something like that. But last week, when we were doing was it our gaming stream or was it our Thursday show?
It was the Thursday show.
Yeah, last week when we were doing our show, Colin Kennedy Weber's, his fiance's little brother and his friends, and are probably the only people watching right now, were texting me so many times that I exhausted my limit of how many texts I can receive. So after that, I was missing text messages left and right because I had to pay to upgrade to Pro in order to look at the rest of the text messages I was getting. But that's besides the point.
We'll blame Grant for that.
He says it wasn't me. You didn't help the situation, Mr. Muted Shark 12. Anyways, I think what I want to do for next week is to we want to make 2 segments. We want to start increasing the number of segments we put on the show. And by segments, we're really just talking about video segments, little short clips or funny or sometimes
like pre-recorded packages.
Yeah, pretty much. It could be funny, it could be serious, it could be whatever. And we want to up the amount of those that we make, because I think that's kind of where we have the most control over this live show. We have a control of what goes into these, segment packages, things like that. So I've started to employ, not really employ in a real sense of the word, but ask some other people, kind of contracted out to make other people, to have other people give us content that we can run on the show and maybe talk about it or, whatever, and not necessarily always be me being the one that, organizing, shooting, editing all the segments. And when I say all the segments, I know we've only done 2, but that's beside the point. But anyways, so we sort of just we need to get into a routine and know what we're doing every
week of every show.
Yeah, every week. So I considered not actually even doing a show today. So for those of you who are watching now, it looks like 6 people now. Hooray. One day we'll look back on this and we'll say, 6 people? That's not a lot.
But they are our viewer core, so thank you guys.
Yeah, so one day when we're big and we're, making, money.
$10.56 an hour.
When we're making $10 per episode of the stream, that's when we'll look back and we'll be like, yeah, we made it because of Lopzy Muted Shark 12. But anyways, so yeah. My goal for this channel, and I don't know if it aligns with Daniel or Michael's, I'm just kind of saying this now, is that I don't particularly want to make this my full-time job. This is kind of a side thing. It was literally born out of boredom and procrastination. So the bar is set pretty low for this show. So when we spend time on it, when we put in effort to make something that is worth watching, I think that is already, no matter what the content or anything like that, it's already above the bar that we set, because we just clicked stream. We downloaded I downloaded a free software, bought a cheap webcam, got some microphones that I had lying around, and just clicked stream. And here we are live talking to you through the power of the internet, which is something Boogie2988 says. But yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah. Really, the stream is a labor of love for us, because we are, we're digital media students now, but we're about to be digital media professionals, and this is a part of what we do. We produce video content. We try to creatively produce things and work on the cinematography of these segments that we do. And we write, we script, we do the technical stuff. I mean, Brent set up all these mics. He set up the camera. He set up the streaming infrastructure with YouTube. So this is just a neat way for us to use the things that we know how to do and the things that we love to do, and maybe entertain some folks along the way and practice what we do. So
yeah, that's a good way to put it. I didn't really think of that. I think that, oh, hey, look, it's Drew. It's Noah. He asks, where are Drew and Noah? Well, as you can see, they're right behind me, idiot. Get some glasses.
Ouch. Sick burn.
Anyways, so the next, I think again, keeping in mind that this is just a hobby and a side thing that we're doing, and not really something that we, at this point in time, intend on devoting our full attention and time to. The next thing I want to start doing for this stream is incorporate multiple cameras. So the only camera that I have right now that works is the one that you're using to watch us on right now, which is it's just a Logitech webcam that I bought over the summer to serve as a security camera. I hope to buy another one of those just because of the multiple camera aspect. Kind of really just is the next big step in terms of production value. I think that, so that's just something that I want to get. It's fairly inexpensive, just a little thing that we can do to up our production quality, maybe even throw some interesting new aspects into the show. And it's our first guest, Michael Peacock. No, that wasn't right.
Nah. Welcome, my dear husband, Michael Peacock.
All right,
Michael, if you want to sit, you're gonna have to pull up a microphone and turn the camera. So, yeah. Anyways, but yeah. After that, I think we want to focus on making more segments, and we want to also focus on, when we do make the segments, on not always having them appeal only to Milligan. Yeah.
We want to make them higher quality too.
Yeah. So hopefully, and in the end, this can be something that we potentially show to an employer. Maybe not the full, a full episode, but
maybe not the ones where we hike our shirts over our heads and make weird fox noises or stupid stuff like that. Yeah. But the high quality stuff that we do, the informative stuff that we do.
Yeah. So creating pieces of segments that will end up in a reel or something along those lines. I'm not quite sure. Are you leaving again?
Yep.
All right. See you later. Yeah. We're just talking about the direction that we want to go with the channel, stuff like that.
Daniel, you would have enjoyed the SFB thing.
Yeah, it sounded cool.
Yeah.
Oh well.
See you later, Michael.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of where we're going. We've got a question from Muted Shark 12 about the Saturday edition.
Oh yeah. So the Saturday edition was also in keeping with the spirit of the Thursday show, was born out of boredom, and it is just adding one extra element to what we're doing right now, which is just playing a video game. So the software that I have is able to capture screen, capture camera, capture everything. So whatever I decide to do on the computer, I could play a game, or I could look up a video or something like that, and I could just put it on the screen. And I figured if I could do that, I could just as easily stream us playing and maybe commentating on a video game. And I thought that what better game to do that than a game that I've wanted to play for a long time, and it only recently came out in the beginning of, or the beginning of September, I think.
Yeah.
I don't remember, maybe the middle of September.
Mid-September, yeah.
Then Life is Strange Part 2, because last year we had a good time with a couple of friends of ours. We played through the story of it and we enjoyed it, so I decided maybe we could play through this Part 2 and, kind of introduce a stream that way. Let's Play gaming is kind of popular. Not that I really want to buy into that, but maybe increase our exposure a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, we can cast our lot in there. It's really just for fun. It's like this show.
Yeah.
We enjoy games. We enjoy gaming.
Yeah.
I'd say we're all part of the gaming culture. And this is just kind of a way for us to kind of let others in on the fun.
Mm-hmm. Noah Parker says, have you ever tried searching at The Thursday Show on Twitter? Interesting enough that you say that. Yes, I have. I did last week and decided that, you know what the Thursday Show needs is a Twitter handle. So I went to Twitter and I created a Twitter handle. Unfortunately, at The Thursday Show is not available because it is taken.com/The Thursday Show is taken by what looks to be nobody. It is literally just it's at The Thursday Show, and then it says online every Saturday, which is ironic because that's what we do also. And it says join July 2015. And that's weird. There's one follower. I don't know who it is. Let's find out. This is interesting. I've actually never even...
Oh, it's a spam account.
Okay. Well, I wonder if I could claim this handle. But if you do go to twitter.com/Thursday Show YT for YouTube, you can see my Thursday Show Twitter, which I just created like last week. For some reason, there are 2 tweets. Oh, these aren't actual tweets.
Yeah, those are the suggested tweets when you first started Twitter.
Mm-hmm. I am currently the only follower. I'm following PewDiePie, iDubbbz TV, and H3H3 Productions, which is funny. I don't remember all the things that happened when I signed up for the Twitter, but basically I thought, hey, what a better way to keep up with the audience, all 6 of them, on YouTube, or 4 now, than sorry, I just got distracted reading the comments, but what better way to keep up with people than through just having a Twitter? I don't want to deal with a Facebook page. Twitter was really easy to create, so I went ahead and did that.
Yeah, you get a few less grandmas on Twitter compared to Facebook.
So if you guys want to go ahead and follow us on Twitter, we'll be tweeting out links to the segments as they appear, even if it's not on days that we're airing. We'll tweet out links to the show right before we come online, so you'll be reminded to tune in and watch us. And we'll take requests from people if they want to send us segment requests or topic requests or whatever. So yeah, if you guys want to go follow us on Twitter, I will put that in the comment section right now at Thursday Show YT on Twitter.
And we just had someone ask about what game we're looking at playing next. We're almost done with episode 1 of Life is Strange Before the Storm.
Yeah, so if you guys want us to keep playing that game and play it all the way through to the end, then that's totally something we can do. But we might just pick up whatever we feel like. We might play a little bit of, who knows, we might do a little online Rocket League one day if we don't have a story game to play. or something like that. Or we could pick up Firewatch. Firewatch is a good Thursday, or a good Thursday.
Like a Saturday edition.
Well, yeah, it's a good story game that people can kind of get immersed in. And the games that I like to play really are the like story games that everybody kind of has their different experience, and there's different choices and different endings. So you can pick up a game. Two people can pick up the same game and have two totally different experiences. And part of that is showing our playthrough, our experience of the game that you might have played and had a different experience with, or who knows. Yeah. So that's something that would be great. Rocket League is not the best game ever, and that has been, that's just it's completely subjective, and both of us would disagree with that, I think.
Well, I'm just straight up bad at Rocket League.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Anyways, so, yeah. So, a couple of ideas that I had for future shows involve a lot of cool stuff, I think. Talking about space, talking about the end of the world, talking about history of certain things. When we put it together, we'll make these good, long, informative segments and then talk about them on the show. One of the ideas for this I had was obviously the end of the world segment, which we kind of dropped the ball on. Or by we, I really mean I, because I was kind of in charge of all that. So until further notice, we're gonna figure that out. And really, I want to come at this and do it its due diligence, and make it something that's worth posting on YouTube or posting on Facebook, being something that people can come back to and say, I learned something from that. That's interesting. So in keeping with that kind of theme, I want to also do a segment part on this mill that I went to that's got a lot of cool history behind it. I talked to the owner who owns a construction company in Johnson City now, which is his name is Grant Summers of Summers Taylor Incorporated, or company, I don't know. But anyway, so I talked to him for a Stampede piece that I actually did last year for the Stampede, for Milligan Stampede. Ended up getting a private tour of the mill where he's building his new office after it had burned down a couple of times, and there were arsonists that had done something like that.
Watch your language.
Yeah. And some new additions that were coming to that. So I was doing a Stampede piece on that, and in the meantime, I got a lot of footage and a lot of information from that I thought would be really cool to share or do a video piece on. And now that we have this platform, which is YouTube, to kind of share that with, I thought, what better segment to do than maybe something on that. Contact him, get another tour. There are actually tunnels underneath the streets of Johnson City that that lead up to underground silos and underground
bunkers.
It's not a bunker, but there's like crawl spaces and things like that go underneath the streets in Johnson City over by the mill. And I thought that was super cool, and I got some footage of that. So I'd like to go back and do a full-on tour history piece about what the mill, how it was and what it came from and what it is now. Even though it's just a construction company, you dive in and you find out that there's a lot of interesting stuff in there.
Yeah. And springboarding off of that, I had an idea over the break, and I had sort of started doing this as a fun way to spend my time, because when I got home for break, my parents were at school still. But I found a cemetery in the town where my parents are now, and there was a grave there that etched into it was the inscription that read, 2 unknown Irishmen killed in a train wreck in 1849. And I didn't have my camera with me, but I thought about doing some investigating into that and finding out a little more. And I did ask around a little and, pour through a local library a little. And I found out a lot of neat stuff. And I think there's a lot of mysteries like that. I'm sure we'll find some here in East Tennessee. So packages like that. just neat, interesting stuff, and stuff that's well done for you guys, the viewers.
Yeah, that would definitely be interesting, and I'd love to explore that kind of thing more. The only issue, obviously, since we are college students and this is our college dorm room, is that we have time management to take into account. We have other obligations. I have an internship that I need to be doing work for tonight. I have classes I need to keep up with, exams, that kind of thing. So when we jump in like this and start doing a stream, we need to fully realize the ramifications of what that means, and keeping up with an audience and keeping up with a schedule and that kind of thing. So for now, we're going to be keeping it light in terms of load, how much time we're dedicating to this show per week. I know when I first started streaming, when we first made the show, we were doing homework, and I just clicked stream. And then the next time that we streamed, I had spent I don't know how many hours just making the scrolling graphics that you're seeing up here and down here, the lights, setting up the lights to where when you text me they change colors. I was just so excited about it for that amount of time, so I dedicated a lot of time to it. But now, as it's sort of setting in what it really means to have an audience, though we technically don't really have an audience yet, save for you 5 who are watching, which, Mom, if you're watching this, thanks, I guess. But we basically just are gonna step back and kind of moderate how much time we spend on this. Hopefully still have some interesting discussions, because what better way to kill an hour and a half or 2 hours than to just talk about stuff, shoot the wind, or whatever they say.
Shoot the bull.
Yeah.
Shoot the wind.
Keeping it PG or whatever. But
shoot the poo.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll have some interesting discussions, maybe change up the format a little bit. I'd like to get the camera a little bit closer. To be completely honest, just a little nitpicky thing, I like to get the camera a little bit closer to us, and have less of the dirty dishes in the background, and these tables and everything where there's nothing going on.
We also talked about getting a backdrop at some point, so that could be an option in the future, so you don't see our apartment. And like people running around behind us in their underwear. Or
even changing locations of where we actually do this from. We have a perfectly good study room right around the corner that we could stretch an Ethernet cable to, and camera and some microphone cords to. Anyways, that's just, shooting around ideas.
Yeah.
If expect a change in scenery soon. Expect new cameras. Expect more microphones. More of our microphones and not the comm department's microphones.
Sorry, Noah.
And expect more segments, more pre-filmed segments, and more
quality.
More structured topics and quality and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
we have a question. Someone asking if there's a way to donate to us. Not really.
Well, okay. You can always PayPal us. I'll put my PayPal link in the description, but I don't want to take your money just yet. Yeah. We are not at the point yet where we are ready to take any money for anything. This was born out of boredom. I don't think we should be profiting off of it until we really, have something to give somebody. Also, just in that same realm of thought, with an audience as small as we have right now, 5 people, with Lopsy Muted Shark 12. Tell me your name so I can call you by your name.
It's Colin.
It's okay, Colin. What am I gonna do with I don't know how much money you would donate. What am I gonna do with that? I would have no way to take any amount of money at this point in time and turn it around and make it something that you can see on the show just yet at this point in time. So I don't know. I mean, it's obviously
Basically, we don't want to take your money.
Yeah, we
like
don't-
we enjoy doing this. We do it because we enjoy it,
right.
and
Especially not if you are, how old is Colin? 8, 10, 12,
he is 13.
13? Okay. So none of those are right. But especially, I'm not going to take money from a minor. So the fact that this came up at all is a little jarring to me. But
we
so-
appreciate that you enjoy the show
Yeah.
and that you're excited to see us grow.
yeah. So if you really want to see more of what we have to offer and where we take this show, and not just be like, oh, haha, they're talking about Milligan this week. Not that we're not going to do that anymore, but we need to reevaluate what we're doing. Reevaluate where we want this to go. So, anyways, yeah. I don't think we're going to stop what we're doing. We might take breaks from time to time. Like obviously, we're not going to try and really get everybody together for a Thanksgiving special or anything like that. That
We
would
might
just
do
be,
a special the week before while we're still at school.
yeah, perhaps. But I don't think that we're gonna be traveling to make this happen. We'll take seasonal breaks, over Christmas break, things like that, while we do other things. But I think for the most part, while we're here at college in this room, once a week on Thursday is not going to kill anybody to just sit down and chit chat about some stuff, go off of a list of topics, give us our opinions on that, have people over, not a ton of people, just maybe one or two who we can mic up properly and not, be alienating. So yeah, just things like that. What age range do you guys want to get attention from? I don't really care. Anybody who wants to listen.
Yeah.
We'll have, hopefully we'll have some scientific knowledge to share with you guys, some history knowledge. We'll do some research and bring you guys some interesting facts. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll try to get some interesting points of view from all sorts of people about whatever. We're going to talk about video games and DLCs at some point.
Yeah.
And talk about stuff like that.
One week we'll talk about the Fermi paradox. That'd be awesome. And one week we'll talk about something
microtransactions.
Yeah, we'll talk about microtransactions
Yeah,
and
pretty
how
much.
they're killing the video game industry.
Shout out to you, Shadow of War.
Shout out to you, EA Games.
True.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that the right one? Okay.
It's EA. Yeah. Battlefront 2. We'll get into this in a little bit, but I've got some stories to tell about Battlefront 2. But
And
yeah.
Also, in the meantime of this channel, we are going to recycle. See all those cans up there, everybody, and bottles? We're going to recycle all that. So don't message me about that, Mom.
But yeah.
Don't tell me how bad my soda drinking habit is.
Yeah, we've all contributed to that. Don't worry. Brent, we've
the-
contributed a little.
I'd like to personally just take the fall for all of that. Michael likes to say that he drank a lot of those cans up there, but I'm pretty sure he threw most of those all away or crushed them all, because the cans up there I'm pretty sure are mine, because I would take the tab off and cut the top off with a can opener, and I don't think he would do that. The glass bottles are definitely all mine, except for the ones on the very end. This is just a weird tangent. All the Ale-8 cans, all the Dr. Pepper cans, all the Mountain Dew cans, they're mine. I have a problem. I know. First step to having a problem is admitting. Wait,
The first step to fixing your problem is admitting you have one.
there it is. That's
First
the
step to
quote.
having a problem is having a problem.
The first step to having a problem is soda. Soda is the root of all evil. They say money, it's soda.
It's
I'm
the
telling
love
you.
of soda that is the root of all evil.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Bada bing, bada boom. So, anyways,
Colin says the age range from the Saturday show and the Thursday show are completely different, and I think you're right, but that's purely a coincidence, because I think you're the only one that watches the Saturday show, Colin, and honestly, I don't really mind. It's on the internet. Who knows? Maybe in 30 years, somebody's going to come back here and say, heck, in 30 years, maybe even I or Daniel or somebody's going to come back here and say, hey, that was our life back then. Remember that great time? I do that all the time. I go on Google Photos. I scroll all the way back to 2006 when my first pictures I ever took were from. And I'm like, man, those were the days. I remember Midtown Madness and playing Midtown Madness.
Yeah, or the Nintendo 64.
Or going to climbing over my barbed wire fence and going to Kroger like every other week because we just wanted Twizzlers and gum from the candy section. We just went to Kroger and bought a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
We were so irresponsible. I was so irresponsible. Anyways, yeah, really, I didn't have much more planned for tonight than that. One of these days, we are going to talk about the end of the world. Other than that, if you guys want to, did somebody ever follow me on Twitter? Nope, I have one follower still. Follow me on Twitter.
Yeah.
So yeah, we want to hear your suggestions from you guys. What you guys want to see us do segment wise? If you have segment ideas, or if you have show ideas for topics, let us know on Twitter. I don't know. Text me if you guys all have my number, my Google number, not my real number, from the little graphics we put up in the corner. But yeah, just let us know what you want us to do. We'll figure out how to fit that in with what we want to do. We'll continue to improve the production quality to a reasonable level for college students on a budget, which is $0. And
we'll improve it beyond that.
Yeah.
We'll outdo your expectations and our budget.
Guaranteed. Or your money back, which is $0.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah. Do you have anything you want to say? Anything you want to talk about? Any shout-outs you want to give? Because I'm pretty much that's all I wanted to do for tonight. If there are anybody in the comments wants to make some small talk with us, ask us some questions, we'll be sure to answer them. Open-ended, hopefully, not just what's your favorite color.
Anyways,
but yeah, so just to reinforce I just put my laptop down and picked up another laptop. I don't know what I'm doing. But just to kind of reinforce the structure of this, what we hope to do with the channel is introduce a topic, hopefully a pre-recorded video on the topic. We'll talk about that. We'll roll the video. We'll talk about the video after it's done and some things that we address in the video and things we leave out and blah, blah, blah.
Into more detail, some questions from you guys, maybe have a specialist about it.
Exactly. Hopefully have a guest that will talk about it. That would be great. Except the timing of the show is a little odd, so who knows.
Yeah.
And then we will, after we're done with talking, we'll open up the chat a little bit. We'll read comments. We'll answer questions. We'll
maybe even ask questions. We love interacting with you guys.
First part of the show is kind of all us, and then the next part of the show we kind of open it up into a two-way channel and talk to you guys a little bit, and then we end it from there. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, I still don't exactly know how many people are watching.
I think we've got about 4 or 5.
It fluctuates, yeah.
But anyways, real quick before we go, I slightly brought up the whole Battlefront 2 thing. And this is a moral issue for me. And by moral issue, I mean they are being immoral. But,
sorry, there's so much reverb.
Yeah. Basically, as you know, the Battlefront 2 beta was available last weekend. A lot of people played it. A lot of people said it was really fun. It was an obvious improvement over the kind of arcadey, floaty feel of the first Battlefront. It is a Star Wars marketed game, so of course it's going to be huge. And you can tell they put a lot of effort into it. It's made by DICE, a Swedish company who's made Battlefield for a number of years. And they are published through EA, Electronic Arts. And it recently surfaced that they are going to be doing a new business model for their microtransactions. And basically what those are, if you're not familiar, is you pay $2, $3, $5, $10, and you can buy things in the game with real-life money. And it's not like a whole DLC, which is a pre-packaged and prepared set of maps or a set of quests, locations, weapons, characters. It's you pay for this one tiny little thing. Like say you pay for a specific gun, or in Rainbow Six you pay $5.99 for a new character to play as. The idea is that in Battlefront 2, those microtransactions will give you access to things that just straight up make your character or you as a player more powerful. Like, not give you new abilities, not give you interesting new tactics or anything like that. It's just straight up makes you better. It gives you more health. It gives you more damage. It lets you shoot faster. It lets you fly around firing laser beams out of your ear sockets and turn people into ashtrays. It's literally paying money for a game that you already paid $60 for just to whip up on angry 30-year-olds. And I think that's wrong. I think if you pay $60 for a game, you should not be asked to dump more money into that game just to be competitive with people who are paying more money. I think that it's immoral as a company. I don't know if it's a decision that was made by EA or if it was made by DICE, EA being the publisher, DICE being the people who made it. What's your take on all that, Brent?
I think that there are games that are made for people. This is too close now. There are games that are made for people who like paying for games. I think that the reason people pay for the game, people who pay to play games like Battlefront or whatever, or buying cases for Call of Duty or CS:GO or Call of Duty or whatever. The instant gratification of buying the thing and then having it, work for a little while is great at first, but after a while it just gets repetitive and it gets like people you can pay to win these games. You pay to get these awesome guns and whatever, but then other people can also pay and get that too, and then it just becomes a game of skill again. If everybody has all these weapons, or whatever the game is, there are games that will satisfy the same part of your brain that is captivated by that doesn't cost you as much money or can cost you even more money, like Candy Crush. If Candy Crush is a game that is designed to get people who buy DLC, people who are more inclined to buy DLC like that gives them a platform where they can just go completely crazy. Candy Crush and all those Clash of Clans games,
Angry Birds, Clash of Clans.
More so with like Clash of Clans, where it's like you really can't progress and win at the game unless you buy the things. Like
without putting an insane amount of time into the game. Like,
if I remember right, you in Candy Crush, I've never actually played the game, but you build a thing, and then the whole game is the waiting game, you put a thing and then you wait for it to spawn you another thing, and then or generate you currency. It generates currency over time, and then like you can use that to put another thing down. So what you can do, I think, in that game is that you pay to eliminate the wait time. So you have to wait like 3 hours to get more troops, and you pay however much gold
like
in the game,
$1.99 or something tiny like that.
The thing, what they do is it's really scummy, and I've seen I've read articles and stuff about this where they'll the degrees of separation from actual money. So you've got your $10 in your hand right here, but then the game charges you like 3,800 gold coins or something, and the gold coins you can use like your little gems to buy gold coins, but you need to buy a pack of gems for 99 gems for $4 or something like that. So you're using money to buy gems, and you're using the gems to buy gold, and the degrees of separation kind of distances you from how much money you're actually spending on the game. So it's really kind of scummy the way that they do that, and kind of target people who, like kids, people who are like, "Mom, buy me 8 more gem packs from candy whatever, I don't know." and the moms and dads who are like, whatever, fine, it's only $4.
Yeah.
Though that's not a good. I don't think that's a good mindset to have, especially with kids growing up.
Yeah. And that's an interesting point that Colin just made in the chat, is that when this first came out, when apps first started doing this, things like Clash of Clans and Candy Crush, parents were not expecting it. And so their kids would get their credit card and be like, hey, I want to buy something for a game. And they're like, okay, well, they're just going to buy a game. It's going to be like $1.99 or $5. And next thing they know, they're getting a bill for like $80 because their kid is just hitting, skip the build time. And it got to the point where Apple was legally required, or was about to be sued to the point where they would have to be legally required to say in the App Store, hey, this has microtransactions. And so it got that bad for a while. And I think a lot of the scummy things, or one of the more scummy things that's going on right now with games, and we're talking like AAA games now, like Call of Duty and Battlefront 2, games that you have to drop $60 for, games that you like pre-order. They have a system where it's the same thing, like what you were saying. You spend real money to buy in-game currencies, and then you use that to get the loot drops or skip the build time. Only now it's randomized loot drops. So you're spending real money to get this in-game currency, and then you take that and you spend it at a lottery system. So you can't directly buy the things that you want. You're buying a chance to get the things that you want. And I think that is downright despicable. Call of Duty's gotten better about how they do it. But a couple of years back, when whatever Call of Duty 18 or whatever number we're on, it was a straight up lottery. You would pay real money just to have the chance to get these things. And they were like straight up new content, new weapons, new whatever you need. Brent's flipping through my emails.
I was like, what is, I was trying to I thought there was another tab and I was like, what is DDS?
Yeah. Oh, I've wrestled with the Georgia Department of Driving Services too.
Driver's licenses.
I have the feeling that someone's about to mention Rocket League in the chat about how they don't have the problem with microtransactions. Which, funny story, Rocket League does actually have cosmetic loot drops.
Yeah, I think that's a good exception to the whole microtransactions are evil type thing. Is if it's a microtransaction that doesn't improve your character's ability to kill or maim or whatever the object of the game
cause
is.
Emotional trauma.
Yeah. So as long as this microtransaction doesn't make you go faster in your Rocket League car or jump higher or have boost for longer or something like that, as long as these microtransaction doesn't have that happen, then it's good. It's a cosmetic thing. It's personal preference. Yeah. You don't have to, keep buying more to stay on top of, other people. But if you're paying for a gun that like if the in-game gun at level 30, I don't know, does 60 damage, and you can pay for a gun at any level that does like 100 damage, then of course there's no incentive to get to level 30 to get that gun because it's not even as good as the gun you're paying for. Yeah. And then because of all that, everyone buys the level, the 100 damage gun, and then they got to make a new gun that is even more powerful so some people can have an advantage, because after that it's just a point of skill. And what's the point in a game just about skill? It's about who can spend the most money. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Anyways.
So, yeah, cosmetic only microtransactions. I think that's really just a good way for developers to make money. Because although the gaming industry has grown a ton, it's still not nearly as huge as, say, the film industry or the television industry. And so there's a lot of developers who make really good games and who are awesome to their customers for the most part, and they're still struggling to make ends meet.
Yeah, I mean, it's I won't deny. I mean, obviously, microtransactions help certain developers actually make money, and But I don't think that if you're a company like EA and you're making a game that isn't even complete with, that you have to buy extra DLC for to get a wholesome ending or something like that.
Yeah.
That's just ridiculous.
At that point, you're forcing people to buy these things. If you are just making fun, like neat looking content or fun content that doesn't give someone an unfair advantage, then, or doesn't take something away from the game that should be in the game in the first place, then I think that's okay. But it's when it's something that you either have to complete the experience or you have to have to stay competitive. I think that is when it's a problem.
Yeah, it's kind of like the illustration I've seen of the broken CD, where they have a game and they say, "Here's the finished game," and then the distributor cracks the CD in half, and then cracks one of the halves in half again, and he says, "Okay," and he hands you the big half of the CD, and he says, "Here's what you get," and then he hands you another half of the CD that says, "Here's something you got to pay for with DLC," and then he hands you the other half of the CD, the other half of the broken CD that's like the bonus content or something. So to have the whole thing, you have to pay. You have to pay for the season pass and the DLC and all that nonsense, and it's just garbage. But with that, what would you pay for in a game? So like, would you pay for a game like Skyrim? Say Skyrim had microtransactions, which I'm not familiar. Does it, or does it?
It actually does, and that's a whole different problem because Bethesda, the people who make Skyrim and Fallout,
Right.
They now have a thing where you pay for mods on consoles and on PC. So you spend money to download mods to the game.
So what would you or wouldn't you pay for? I'm going to ask you a couple of things. So, and Colin, you can respond to this too. Feel free. Okay, so would you pay for, say you have Skyrim, and say you have you're playing Skyrim and you want to buy a HD texture pack. A couple of years later, the developer comes out and says, I redid all the textures. All the textures are HD now with the help of people from the internet, generous people. I've made all these textures high quality, way better looking, textures. Would you buy that?
I would be willing to spend money on it.
Right. So that's a cosmetic thing.
Yeah.
So then what about if you are in this, keep in mind this Skyrim, if I'm not mistaken, is a single player game, right?
Yeah, it is.
There's no online aspect to it.
Nope.
Right. So in the single player game, if they put out a DLC like a year after the game came out, they put out a DLC that is like 10 new quests or something that you can go on. So in this open world game, you get, you've completed all the quests and done all the little, everything's at 100%. And then they come out with DLC and they say, here's, 10 new characters that we're going to introduce and some new quests that you can go on for them. Is that something you'd pay for?
Yeah, I would totally
be
willing to do that.
In my mind, that would be like completing Grand Theft Auto and then all of a sudden getting an entirely new,
it's like getting more game. You're just getting straight up more game than you
pretty
have.
much. So, what about if they said, here's a DLC where you buy this DLC and you get a special cloak that's hidden somewhere in the map that you can get, and when you get it, it like increases your strength or something like that, or the D word, dexterity, or something like that. Yeah, so it increases it increases something. It increases something about you that the rest of the game you can't really, you can't really do. But maybe it's hidden in some sort of special quest that's unlocked later. So is that something you'd buy?
I think it gets a little iffy there. Colin did send a response to the whole cosmetic thing, and he said he wouldn't feel comfortable spending money on cosmetics. But talking about things that are like stat boosts, the issue with some of that stuff is sometimes it makes you super powerful, and it kind of breaks the game. Say you get that cloak, and you now have jack strength, and you're hulking out, one-shotting everything. At that point, like, what's the point? I mean, you just have a beat the game button. And I feel like that's what a lot of the stuff that Bethesda is pushing with these paid mods is. It's not, high definition retextures or new quest lines, like DLC level quest lines. It's you get the armor from Doom and it has 1 billion radiation resistance. So anytime you dump toxic sludge all over yourself, you're perfectly fine. I think that stuff is just dumb. I wouldn't spend money on that. If someone wants to spend money to basically cheat, I guess that's their decision. But I don't think, me personally, I would feel comfortable doing that.
So what about a game such as, like, well, I don't know. I don't really have another example, actually. I don't know. It's cool. It's interesting to see what the spectrum of things people would pay for. I'm sure if we had other people who play video games, that we would see a lot of different opinions there. Maybe somebody thinks that, like, the mass transit mod mass transit DLC for Cities Skylines would be like, you're adding functionality to the game, which you advertise the game as having the functionality, and then maybe but you don't get it with the just the base game. So it's like, well, the advertising was kind of weird, made you kind of buy it thinking that you're going to get this.
You got bamboozled a little.
Yeah, maybe the advertising was a little weird. Yeah, I don't know. Basically, just cool to think about that. But anyways, so we've kind of devolved now into just mumbling about video games, and Daniel's laptop's about to die. I think, unless Daniel has anything else to say,
I think that's really it. Colin is saying that he would spend money on things that add content. So to wrap it up, that whole discussion, things that add stuff to the game, like if you have a full game and then you get a little more, like seconds at dinner, someone throws another biscuit and gravy on your plate, that's good. It's when someone hands you 2 crumbs or they hand you a dry biscuit and throw it there with the gravy, like, that's $4.99. Sorry, honey.
Speaking of biscuits, what time does Bojangles close? Okay, Google.
Probably 9.
When does Bojangles close? Oh, my phone died.
Oh.
Everybody, you witnessed it live on stream. Piece of crap. All right. With that, I'm pissed. So I'm going to go ahead and end the stream right there. We'll go ahead and roll the outro.
Yep. But anyways, thank you guys very much for coming and hanging out with us. As always, it's a huge pleasure. You're right, Colin, Lego Dimensions is terrible. And we will see you guys for the Saturday edition of the Thursday show. You guys take care.